With Spider-Man Brand New Day in theaters, I want to do a video of my favorite superhero again, but this video popped on my feed and I had to just talk about it. I always loved the 90s Spider-Man cartoon and grew up watching it on Fox Kids back in the day and reading the OG comics at the time as well. But looking back, it is absolutely hilarious how every character was built like a golden era bodybuilder prepping to step on stage, even when it straight up did not match the character's personality or description. But this was not an isolated incident. This was straight up the norm for action cartoons back in the 80s and 90s, especially after the exponential success of two certain actors in the 80s, which we'll fully get to later in this video. Let's rewind back to the good old days, my fellow millennials, Gen X, and Elder Gen Z. Shows like He-Man, X-Men, Fantastic Four, Conan the Adventurer, TMNT, Iron Man, Street Sharks, Biker Mice from Mars, Extreme Dinosaurs, and much more had the default settings for their characters be tickled chest, swole arms, snatched waist, thick quads and calves, and topped with boulder shoulders. Damn! This plus anime like Fist of the North Star and Rock the Dragon, Dragon Ball Z coming in, it makes sense why so many of us grew up to be these gym-obsessed people. Those gains paid off, yeah! Now the relationship between children's animation and action figure selling has always been very strong, especially back then, as they could just reuse and resize similar molds for various action figures and sell them as different characters. So if everyone was built relatively the same, it made the process exponentially easier and much cheaper to produce. But even then, sometimes it would work its way into media that it just didn't fit. For example, I remember as a kid, I had this Luke Skywalker action figure, and when you look at it, this is not the son of Darth Vader, this is the son of Darth Wader. And while this led to a lot of really cool action figures back in the day, I mean, damn, Otto, what the hell? Like, while it was really epic and awesome and made cool figures, it led to something that I personally call the syndrome trap. What I mean by that is, if you're making a series and give all your characters damn near the exact same build, even when they are not naturally fighters or heroes, even J. Jonah Jameson himself, which not gonna lie, works pretty well these days in hindsight, when every character is built relatively the same, it actually takes away from the uniqueness of someone actually having muscle gains and then actually makes them stand out less and can affect their shape language for the character.
When everyone's super, no one will be.
Real quick, before someone brings up Baki, Street Fighter, or JoJo's 1-3, I want to say those are special cases to themselves, okay? They do not fall into this category. That's different. Here's an example of what I mean. The character of Eddie Brock was a tank of a man well before bonding with the symbiote to become Venom. Think prime John Cena. Matter of fact, John, call your agent and get on the line with Feige along with that ginger from Gotham. Eddie trained so much because he thought it would help him with stress relief, but sadly it did not. But after years of training this way, he became a very yoked individual. So when the symbiote bonded with him, the jacked monster we know and love as Venom was born. Also, I really hate these days how they try to call the suit by itself Venom when that was never the case. The reason they are called Venom is because the suit and Eddie's specific hatred for Peter is what caused them to fuse and name themselves Venom, because they were like, we are now poison to you, Spider-Man. That's what we call ourselves, Venom. Calling the suit by itself Venom makes no fucking sense. It's just stupid. So I hate when they do that bullshit. Stop with that. Also, I really can't stand how the suit, when it becomes someone else becomes Venom, they become as jacked as Eddie was when he is Venom. All right, I don't like it. I like the fact that it molds to what you are, what you're built like, and then we'll slightly enhance that, like what they did with that. I'll just go on a whole tangent, but I really hate that, all right? Eddie and the suit are together Venom, not any other bullshit. So far, these have done it the best in media. Rewatch if you need a refresher. But this is the size difference between Pete in the black suit and Eddie in the black suit. However, when you rewatch the show, Pete and Eddie are damn near the same size at certain points.
Even their action figures are damn near the same size, bruh.
Now, yes, Eddie is brolic as fuck, and we see him doing the infamous bicep bench, but when everyone else in the show is just as jacked, he doesn't stand out as much. Yes, he is slightly bigger and taller than Pete, but it's so funny because we are so used to Venom being built like damn near the Hulk. Personally, I still love the 90s Venom design and don't mind it. I just hate how they gave him these stupid blue fish lips in the show. In the intro, he looks perfect, but for some reason, they gave him this BS coral blue semi-gloss lipstick every time he showed up.
Actually, it's coral blue number.
Though, rolling it back, speaking of the Hulk, this is Bruce Banner in the 90s show in his regular form. Matter of fact, what was it they said in X-Men 97?
But discreet. Before today, this fellow was your average Joe.
Average Joe. Built like the statue of David. Average Joe. Shut the fuck.
Now, like we talked about earlier on in this video, the 80s and 90s were primarily like this thanks to two certain stars, Arnold Schwarzenegger and Sylvester Stallone, Rocky, Conan, Rambo, The Terminator, Over the Top, Commando, Cliffhanger, and Predator.
You son of a bitch.
These had an exponential effect on media at the time and made most boys want to get them gains like the strongman they show on screen, and to this day, I still rewatch hype scenes from all these movies, and not gonna lie, it works better than any form of caffeine to get me motivated. But just like being hyperbolic on the internet, when something goes too far in one direction, it can lead to some issues. A lot of which are covered greatly in the documentary Bigger, Stronger, Faster by director Christopher Bell. Now, while there is a part of my brain that does love the idea of everyone just walking around like golden era bodybuilders and muscle mommies 24/7 like in these shows. By the way, 90s black cat equals best black cat ever. She has freaking powers in the show. She's built like a freaking waifu. And her and Pete are actually great endgame material in this series because him and Felicia were friends prior to getting their powers, and they just work so much better in the show versus him and MJ in this show. So they should have been endgame. So I'm gonna stay by that. But overall, I can see why that would become very stale and boring if it was the norm. And that's actually why I prefer a lot of varied body types in media, just like we have in real life. Because it shows that there are just so many different body types for different classes of people. There are so many different talented, world-renowned athletes out there built exceptionally different that can also whoop people in their craft, and they all have vastly different physiques. We've talked about this before. Like, Usain Bolt will never be able to outlift Brian Shaw, just as Brian Shaw will never be able to outrun Usain Bolt in a foot race. Everyone has their specialty class. We got the lean, athletic, explosive ninja type people, we got the tank, powerful, strong as fuck people, and we got the in-betweeners who are adept at various things but not a master at one physical thing. Those unique stats let every character stand out in their own way. Matter of fact, I did a video a couple years back which broke down what would work well for various characters in real life based off the artist opinions and sports science, so check it out after this. It was really fun to break down. Like I always say, I'm more of a Spider-Man type build because I like my strength and conditioning, but I also really enjoy being very nimble. Honestly, I still love the 90s Spider-Man cartoon to this day, and looking at it, it just makes sense why it remains so iconic. The designs are so beloved. And even going back and looking at those action figures in my basement, like that sparked a level of joy in me that I had not felt for a while, so I will forever love this show. But that said, I do really enjoy when character designs are more varied and then like their physiques actually tell something about them as a person. Versus being too similar like,
actually, we're the greatest and the blobbiest.
When Eddie Brock enters the room, I feel like he should look physically bigger than both Pete and J. Jonah Jameson when he is just a regular dude. And when Hulk powers down to Bruce Banner, I feel like that should reflect the opposite of this thing. Like he is this 9-foot mass monster, jacked and ripped. And then when he shrinks down, he shouldn't be like a non-colored green version of himself, like when Bruce is not working out like that. Or hell, maybe the average Joe just looks like this in, what is it, Marvel Universe Earth 92131? Because that's where all the 90s shows take place, and everyone just has a great diet and daily workout plan. Okay, that would actually be hilarious. Like, they're doing their multiverse hopping thing, and then they like land in the 90s cartoon universe, and everyone's just looking around. It's like, why is everyone so extra jacked here? Like, my God, that would be an amazing animated short. Someone get on that. If you made it this far in the video, type Spider Gains down below. It showed me who watched all the way to the end. And tell me, what is your favorite 90s Spider-Man cartoon? Was it X-Men or anything like that? And what do you think? Do you like more varied body types in media? Or do you love the idea of like, hey, this is exaggerated. Everyone being jacked is fine. It works. Even like, you know, like have the bartender be jacked, this person be jacked, that old lady gets jacked. Everyone gets gains. Like, what's your opinion? Also, funny enough, my new program, Slice of Life Fit, can actually help the average Joe become ripped like that without having to sacrifice a lot. I made it for people who are just so busy and feel like they get overwhelmed going to the gym. I've been practicing it since, you know, January myself. It's helped me out a lot, and it's also helped a lot of people out a lot. So, because in my opinion, you don't have to spend 24/7 in the gym, and fitness should not feel like a chore. Fitness should enrich your life, so that's why I made that program. And also, if you're looking for a group to help, you know, get you motivated to work out, check my school group down below. And if you need a sensei, a coach to help you reach your goals for something tailor-made for yourself, just click the link down below and then we'll talk on like Zoom and I'll see if my services can help you. But I'm gonna go get my workout in because watching this show got me just amped up. Like, this is better than pre-workout, so get after it. And remember, like I always say, keep calm, booyah on, and don't forget, Momentai. Now go get some gains like